I have a vision that is fuzzy for what we're doing and where we're going. I think that I communicate it often, but the reality is my team needs to see it, to know it, to hear it all the time. And I don't communicate it as often as I think I do.
People, when I meet them, can't really tell me what they want in 3 years. It's a real problem.
I think that's where the Vision Traction Organizer is.
The Vision Traction Organizer, it's a system of how to think and set goals and hold people accountable for getting them.
It's not hard, especially if you've been in business for a while and you have done some general practices. You just haven't organized it together.
Expert advice, practical tips, real-life stories. Have less stress, more time, and more money in your business. Welcome to the Cashflow Contractor.
Martin, I'm sitting in a empty office, brand new, and there's probably echo. It's just.
Oh, sounds great.
Sounds good. Okay. Well, yeah, it's going to happen. It's one of those decisions that I really want to make, but I'm just kind of delaying. But I'm going to buy I office by myself. All of our team is remote. No one ever comes to visit my office. Sometimes Martin has probably once or twice a year.
Yeah.
But I'm going to buy a house to office out of. We know someone that does that. Lance.
Yeah, sure do. Yeah.
But I want to buy a house that's on OU's campus down the road. Office out of there during the week. Fridays, I don't have to be in the office. I don't do meetings on Fridays. I can office at home or a coffee shop. Airbnb it Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come back to it on Monday and office again. That's kind of the plan. So
have you got the house picked out?
No. That's the problem is I don't know. I don't really want a fixer-upper. Like I kind of want it to just be, it's ready to go. I don't want another project to deal with right now. And houses are expensive that are on campus that aren't a project.
About double the rest of the town. Not quite double, really.
Yeah, but I think they're good. I think they hold their value. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you can easily pay off
beautiful
the
part of
mortgage
town, and the people.
Yeah.
For football games, and then renters. If you get the right renters students.
I will do that at some point, but today is not that day. So, have you read Traction by Gino Wickham? Is that his name?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I've read it 3 or 4 times. I mean, not in the last week, but I've read it. Sure, it's a good system.
Okay. So he talks about entrepreneurial organization system. I don't know that I'm going to follow this to a hardcore T and this is what I'm going to do. But I want to talk about the Vision Traction Organizer, which is kind of like a foundational document in the EOS system. And we're going through it ourselves. And I thought it was really valuable. Have you ever filled one out or you're familiar with the idea?
Oh, yeah. I've never filled one of his out.
Okay.
What I do is not that dissimilar from what he does.
Exactly.
Except what he's done with it. I know EOS guys, and they're really great, and it's a good system. Anyway, so yeah, I'm familiar with it, but I'm not.
Kind of come to the realization there's nothing necessarily unique about the system. What I'm coming to learn is that it's just, and maybe I'm spoiled by getting to sit alongside you for 4 or 5 years and record a podcast and even longer beyond that. But I think it's just general good business advice, and it's put all together in one system.
I was going to say, and it's in a book.
And it's in a book.
And we're on page 7 and do this. And then they do have implementers. One of the things that's distinct between EOS and what I do is I mostly work with the owners. I'm not as involved with, I do some of that, but it's not an expected recurring thing that I'm out talking to the team. I actually coach some people who are on EOS. They do both.
Yeah.
And we're that much different. But I do know about the Vision Traction Organizer. It's a system of how to think and set goals and hold people accountable for getting them.
Well, and that's what I think is valuable about it. It's valuable for the business owner and all that stuff, but where I'm finding value for it is for my team, right?
Yeah.
it's helpful for them. And I think one of the most important things that I'm realizing is that I have a vision that is fuzzy for what we're doing and where we're going. And um, I think that I communicate it often, but the reality is like my team needs to see it, to know it, to hear it all the time. And I don't communicate it as often as I think I do. And so I think that's where the vision traction organizer is. We've implemented it. It's not hard, especially if you've been in business for a while and you do have done some general practices. You just haven't organized it together. You can fill it out in probably an hour or two. If you haven't done like core values, or you have no idea what, is a differentiator for yourself, um, then it might take you a bit
Then go
longer.
get Donald Miller's
Brand script.
He's got a brand script.
Story brand. The story brand AI.
Story brand AI. And
Yeah.
use it, and it'll come up with the customer, with the client oriented.
Yeah. No, it's good. So anyways, we're in the process of growth kits, doing our vision traction organizer for that. And I wanted to kind of just review it with you and kind of go through the process. I thought it'd be good for our audience as well, just to understand what it is. So yeah, growth kits really launched. We've been doing the services and growth kits for a long time. Really since like 2017, we started doing some of the services, but it's not until recently that we're like, okay, this is a full-fledged brand. And it's still malleable. I'm even thinking about changing the name of it. But it's growth kits right now. And I'll kind of go through each step of that, that we're doing. So the first portion of the vision traction organizer is your core values. And I've really dwelt on this, and like, we have Benali as our kind of holding company, parent company of growth kits and DemandCast. And we do consulting. I do consulting through Benali still. But I was thinking about coming up with new core values for growth kits separately. And I actually just, through a long process, came back to just the core values of Benali being the core values for growth kits. Because ultimately, the core values are internal, in my opinion. They're for our team. Our team is connected between the businesses that we have. And so they just need to be the same across the board. And so our core values, we kind of did it in these like 3-word phrases. Together is better, always be inspired, just be real, make it work, change is certain, celebrate good times. So those are our 6 core values. We try to make it somewhat memorable. You can have 3 core values. It's more easier to remember, but we've got 6. And I think this is, the way that we use these, and we used to be really good at using this. We're kind of getting back into the groove of it, is we recognize them. This is what we measure people on. Whenever we fire people, this is what we will point to. Hey, you're not fitting the values. Whenever we hire people, we're hiring them because they fit these values. And it's just what we measure against all the time. And when we recognize employees, we say, hey, I wanted to highlight, Jenny, because she really displayed together is better. She went in, she supported our other team member on this. She really, went above and beyond here. And then she didn't take any credit for it. It was all in the background, but I saw it. I wanted to recognize her, and I'll reward on it. When we do promotions, this is what we reward against as well. And I think a lot of times values can feel subjective in some ways. They don't feel sometimes they don't feel concrete to business owners. But you can make them objective. You can really, if you solidify them, if you write them down, if you share them with the team, if you get them out there, you can make them objective. And that will really help, so that you can say, hey man, you weren't real with me. You made a mistake. You tried to cover it up. You didn't, you delayed in telling us the information. Now we have a bigger problem. If you would have just been real right up front, we could have gotten out ahead of this. It wouldn't have been a big deal at all. But now it is a big deal. You can point to those core values in a really objective way to help manage your team. So yeah, we've talked about core values before. Any thoughts you have there?
Any thoughts on it? Oh, absolutely. As the foundational stuff. I mean, I start with the vision. I think you're saying they start with the culture, but culture, they're equal. I mean,
yeah.
And you have a culture. It's whether or not you intended it and created it, or it happened to you. So, yeah, absolutely. And I loved your cultural items. 6 is a good number. I once worked for a company that had had 14. And I thought, well, that's how you get 250 word vision statements.
I think the more you have, the more effort you have to put into making them stick. And you do that by having catchy phrases. You do that by having to reiterate them more and more and more. Whereas if you just had like, 3 simple words, anybody can remember 3 words, So anyways, okay. So the next step of the vision traction organizer is the core focus, and it's really made up of a purpose and a niche. So what is the purpose of your company? And I think this is really helpful in targeting the customer, making it customer centric, but then also what's very specific about it. So for growth kits, what our purpose is to help contractors win. And I like to even think of it as helping contractors win freedom. Not just win in business, and no, it's to win freedom. Much like we talk about in this podcast, less stress, more time, more money. It's to win a clear mind, to win more money, to win, more time with more free time. So that's kind of the purpose of our business. And then the niche is one, contractors, but more specifically, and this is malleable again, we're still working through this and thinking about changing name and stuff like that, but growth systems for contractors. We want everything that we want to be able to remove ourselves from it, because if we can remove ourselves from it, it means the business owner can remove themselves from it as well. They don't have to rely on, if it's something that is able to be delegated, then it's something that the owner doesn't have to do themselves. And so we want it to be a system that they can use over and over again. So yeah, that's the core focus.
Quick ad break to tell you a little bit about OpenPhone. If you're a contractor that has a single cell phone, you're probably inundated with text messages and phone calls, oftentimes that you can't be responsive to or that you can't answer at all. So what's the solution? You can buy another office line with Verizon or AT&T, and you can have an iPhone that is passed around from employee to employee, depending on who's on call. But what if there's a better way? What if there's a way that you can have all your phone calls recorded to go back and listen to later, transcribed with summaries so that you can get a quick glance at what happened during the phone call, and even connect it to your CRM where all your other customer information is? OpenPhone is the perfect solution because it does just that. You're able to add all the users you need to for whoever needs to have access to the lines for your company phone. And then you can also find all of the information you need at a glance with a centralized location for all phone calls and text messages with your customers. Whether it's for marketing, for sales, or for service, OpenPhone is the perfect solution for you and your team. If you're interested, we have an offer down the show notes from OpenPhone. Please click the link down the show notes, or you can see it here on your screen to be able to find more information about OpenPhone. Thanks for listening. Back to the episode.
The next is the 10-year target. 10 years is a long ways away.
Yeah.
I don't it's far out there.
Generally mess with 10 years. I work with 3 years.
Well, and that's a part of the EOS. I think the 10-year is really just
big, hairy goal.
Big, hairy, audacious goal. There's the analogy of having it at like the top of a mountain, which is helpful to understand for some of the other things in the terminology in EOS, but it's the peak of the mountain, and it's Mount Everest. So it's going to be a long time before you get to the top, right? Ours is to help 1,000 contractors systemize their success. I think that would be really cool to have 1,000 contractors that we've served in some capacity. For us, we sell kits, growth kits. For us, we've helped 1,000 contractors win if we've done 2 or more growth kits. It means that the first one was so successful that they want to do the second one, and we've made an impact by doing 2 growth kits for them. So that's kind of our 10-year target. And so you have to have a marketing strategy for that. And our marketing, you basically choose a target market as the first thing. We're SMB construction, doing between 500,000 and 10 million in revenue. They're struggling with growth, with administrative processes, and staff. Those are the main things they're struggling with. That's what we do. It's probably going to need to get you more clarified from there. And then the other part of the marketing strategy that they have on here, and again, this is extremely high level in the Vision Traction Organizer. It's not like a detailed plan, but you have to have 3 uniques, 3 differentiators. And it's not any one of the uniques. Like, it's not like one thing on there that makes you unique from everybody else. It's the combination of all three together that makes you unique. Uh, and I'll share my three. I'm curious, Martin, if you think that these are unique to us or not,
Okay.
because they may not be. And it's not like there's no one else out there that does it, but there's very little people. One, we get SMB construction ownership. We understand the owner, their obstacles, their goals, the roadblocks that they have, the opportunities that are in front of them, the gaps they're facing. Then the second one is that we do done for you implementation. Yes, you have to meet with us. We have to understand. We have to talk. And ultimately, you are in charge of using the system, but we will implement it for you.
Right.
And then the third one is that we're focused on freedom, not just growth. We're not just trying to get you more jobs or more people. We're focused on your freedom. So the combination of those things, what's your
Yeah, I
thought?
think it's brilliant, and I think every word's true. Absolutely.
Okay. So
Most notable is done for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
We really try to do that.
I don't know anybody else. Well, I know of one other outfit that kind of does that. But no, that's the big one. But it wouldn't be any good without the other two.
Yeah. So then you come up with a guarantee as a part of your marketing strategy. Like, what's something you can guarantee? And it's usually a pretty hard one. But for us, what we came up with is your team will actually use it. So if we put in a CRM, you'll actually use it. If we, did a tech stack audit, you'll actually use it. If we built a new website, you'll actually use it. If we hired a new person, you'll actually use them, or we'll fix it for free. So that's kind of our,
Yeah,
we want to build something that you actually use, but if not, we're going to fix it for free. So,
I think that's awesome.
yeah. So it's pretty hard to come up with a guarantee a lot of times. I don't know, without getting into trouble, essentially. But
Well, the thing about guarantees, and that's not what we're talking about today, but if a guarantee doesn't scare you, it's not really much of a guarantee.
yeah,
Because you're asking people to give you money for whatever it is you're doing. And in contracting, you're asking for deposits a lot of the time. And so you're asking them to trust you. On the other end, you have to say, some hard examples are anything that would displease you, circle it and short pay the invoice. And guys go, oh, I don't want to do that. So you ask them to give you a $40,000 deposit, they don't know you, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, no, guarantees are hard, but a really meaningful guarantee makes people say, well, you just did. Ooh, wow.
Yeah, it's good. So then you get through a
that wasn't the
proven
point. You need a guarantee.
Yeah. So then you have to come up with a proven process. Like, hey, how do we serve our clients? What's the process that we go through? It can be unique. It doesn't. Most people follow the same processes in your industry, but you need to have it outlined and you need to try to make it unique. What we came up with is kind of there's really two different processes. There's a simplified version. There's a longer one. And really, we try to think about our process as a flywheel, right? So when you start, you go around, and then by the end, you're coming back around and you're doing it again, right? Just in a circle. And so the short version is we listen, build, and serve. So we listen to our construction audience, we understand their problem and what they're dealing with. We build a solution for them and we do it for them. We done for you implementation. And from there, we serve them on that. We make sure that they're actually using it, that we troubleshoot the problems with them, that they understand how it works, that they understand what the future looks like. And as we're serving them, we're also listening for the next problem that we can then build and serve and listen, build, serve, and it goes in a flywheel. So the longer version is that we listen, we assess, then we design, then we build, and then we serve, and we also train. Because ultimately, we don't want to be responsible for operating the system. We want to train them on how to do it themselves. So that's our process. Contractors out there can come up with a process that's unique. I encourage doing a simple and a long version. I think it brings clarity for the customer, but also it helps people on your team to understand, hey, maybe I do all of these, right? But where do I really spend most of my time? Am I really on the listening side? Am I on the build side? Or am I on the serve side? Like, what am I doing? And how do I add value to the company? How can I really fit in and help our process goes more smoothly? So, yeah, proven process. So the next one is what you were saying, the 3-year picture. I want to hear from you. How do you think about the 3-year picture?
I think it's 3 years from now. No, I mean, it's an attainable goal is what
Yeah.
and I want it to be, it's sufficiently close that we can be specific, sufficiently far that we can give ourselves a little bit of time to achieve, significant amounts. If let's make a lot more money if that's what you're after, or have more freedom or hire people. So it's that great midline. I actually tend to think of those things in 3 years is my vision, 1 year is my goal, quarters are my projects, and weekly stuff are tasks. Right? And they're all lined up to go to the same place. Right?
Yeah.
If you're going to start keeping books, you got to buy QuickBooks. If you're going to run the QuickBooks, you got to hire a QuickBooks bookkeeper. Anyway, so those tasks accumulate. By the end of the quarter, we're running books. Right?
Yeah.
So did that answer your question to how I think of it?
Well, whenever someone's setting their 3-year picture, what are some things that you kind of walk them through, or how do you get to there?
Well, I keep asking why and what do you want and what about it, so that you get to the real emotion of things, the five whys. But it's a real problem for people. Most people, when I meet them, can't really tell me what they want in 3 years. That's a good question. So you start asking questions like, well, is it money? Or I have a thing, probably not appropriate, but I had a client go, man, if I could do that, it'd be cooler than shit. So we said, well, we're not going to use that language. We'll call it CTS. What would be CTS? And they go, well, if I had a house in the Rocky Mountains. Okay. What made you think of that? Well, I don't know, but it would really be CTS. What do you really want? Yeah, I guess I do. I got one guy, I just said, experience things. You want to do things in life and not be bored every day. And I said, how about scuba diving? And he said, oh, that's not that cool. I said, how about flying an airplane? He's now a pilot, private pilot.
Wow.
It's
great.
I said, go try it. Just maybe you don't like it, but maybe you do. But just start breaking that mold and start thinking, that self-limiting. We all have our perceptions of ourselves, and you really have to work to take that limit off.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. I love that you start with the personal. I think that's extremely important for the business owners. And then you work from there. Like, so if you were going to be able to do that, what would be true in your business, and then that can be your 3-year picture. And I think essentially that's what you should be doing in terms of the 10-year target in the EOS system. And you don't have to choose a 10-year target, but you definitely have to do it on the 3-year picture because it is attainable. 3 years is short term enough, but long enough.
Well, the problem with 10 years is things change so quickly and so dramatically. AI, of which is all the rage, and everybody knows that, and you and I use it. We talk it all the time. Really, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Wasn't even around.
Or
wasn't even being adopted.
There was AI out there. Yeah. Chat bots on websites and things like that. But we don't really know. People are going to, they don't even know, are people going to have jobs or robots do? We don't know. So I say, let's stay a little closer and make it real. And the thing about 3 years too is it tends to be more real, right? And like if one of the things, a negative way to think about, it's a negative way, but it's not negative. Rather than what you want in the future is what you don't want, right? So when you're sitting there looking in the pain and the pleasure thing that we talk about all the time, somebody's out there thinking about what they want in 3 years. they might be thinking what they don't want in 3 years. The thing that they don't want to wait 10 years to get rid of a terrible thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if I've said that clearly or not, but if 3 years is more real, and
Yeah.
you can put one out there. In 10 years, I want to be living in the, Caribbean on a plantation. Fine. And if you really want that, if that's what you really want, powerful motivator, man. Keep the picture up there on the window. Every morning you get up and you're saving your nickels because you've got enough time that you're actually going to get it. But a lot of times people, what they think they want 10 years down the road, maybe isn't.
Yeah.
So I know I'm running up against EOS and their system.
No,
and they're
I don't think
definitely valid, but I just go with 3. Maybe it's because I'm 72 years old too.
No, I think you give and take of any system, whether that's a software, whether that's EOS or even your iPhone. You don't need to use all the apps in your phone to be a good iPhone user. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think you take what works and you leave what doesn't. So with this, I won't go into too much detail from here, but for our 3-year picture, we want to get to 200 contractors helped, right? And so I think part of the US system is to revisit your 10-year target and your annual planning every single year, right? And then adjust your 3-year picture accordingly. But for us, 200 contractors helped gets us closer to that 1,000 in 10 years, right? So what does that mean? And you get a little bit more detailed in the 3-year picture. So like we want to be doing 1.5 million in annual revenue in 3 years, right? That's our goal. We want our net margin to be at 15% for that in 3 years. We want to have our team be between 8 and 10 employees full-time dedicated to growth kits around that time, right? So you just get a little bit more specific to have some identifiers to know if you're on track to reach your 3-year target. From there, you get into a 1-year plan that just breaks it down even more concretely. And you get specific about revenue, you get specific about margin, you get specific about what the priority is for that year. Then, if you think about that 10-year target as the peak of the Mount Everest, well, the 3-year target's just a little bit lower. The 1-year plan's lower than that. And then really to climb a mountain, you've got to, put your hand on a rock, climb step by step. Well, you basically set quarterly rocks, and those quarterly rocks can be used for not just you as a person or your company as a whole, but even for each person on the team can have their own rock that they're focused on for the quarter. And that is where you have a KPI that measures the status of the rock, and you have one person accountable to each rock, and you're able to go step by step. And so we're in the middle of this process. I think, if you're interested in this, you have a Spotify subscription, you can listen to Traction for free. You can get Traction on Audible, listen to it while you're driving around. You can go and buy the book and read it, but they have great tools on their website as well. I'll copy in a little template for our Vision Traction Organizer that you can use if you want to. But I think it's a really valuable tool that a lot of our audience should probably be listening to or at least checking in on, because I don't think a lot of people have these things in place. So anything else you want to add before we jump off, Martin?
No, sir. Good to have you back.
Yeah, I know. We're recording 2 episodes today, getting the roll of things. If you want that template, shoot me an email and I will send it to you. Also put a form that you can, put your email in, and we'll send it to you that way too. So guys, thanks for listening. Hope this was helpful. If you have any more questions and you want more EOS content, reach out to us and we can do that.
See you later, man.
See ya.
You made it to the end of the episode, but before you go, if you found yourself thinking about growing your construction business while listening today, I want to share something with you. It's called our 24 Things to Hiring and Training the Perfect Executive Assistant for Your Construction Business. And it's a free guide that we've created. It's not theory, it's what we actually use to help contractors hire the perfect executive assistant. And really, we help you find ways to delegate over 50% of your current workload and get back 20 hours of your time every single week. You didn't start your construction business to just be doing admin work, to be buried in paperwork and endless admin tasks. This is the guide that shows you exactly how to find, and train someone who can actually take all that weight off of your shoulders. So this is a real actionable, great PDF that has templates and processes. It's really, really great. And I want you to check it out, even just to get your feedback and how we can make it even more valuable. But I know that you're gonna love it. The link is in the show notes. Please download it. Would love to see how much of an impact it makes on you and your business. Thanks for listening to the full episode. Check out the guide. It's free. No reason to hesitate. No reason to wait. Download it now. And before you go, I just want to ask for your gracious subscription to our podcast. So if you have 2 seconds, it means the world to us. Just subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or if you'd like our weekly newsletter delivered to your inbox whenever we release an episode, please subscribe in the show notes. Every week, we're talking about real strategies on how you can grow and build a profitable construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, and more money. Click subscribe wherever you listen to the show, and thank you again for checking out the Cashflow Contractor. See you on the next episode.